Hi there guys, so in a recent YouTube video, Anthony Joshua explained he has not yet begun training for his fight with Kubrat Pulev. He also said he wants to be out, he wants to be doing things that young adults should be doing. But ultimately at this point, it's better to just stay at home and follow the guidelines. Now Anthony Joshua also explained he has lost people that he knows and it is getting closer to home. So ultimately what he has to do at the moment is stay grounded, stay at home and follow the guidelines like everyone else. So that means he cannot be training for Kubrat Pulev, meaning that the June date, June 20, will likely be pushed back to July 25th. And I even believe that is very optimistic because I just think that how are they going to get sparring partners? Because during training, they need to make sure they are in peak condition and make sure that they peak for the fight. And that is what Anthony Joshua will want to achieve this time because remember what happened last time. Anthony Joshua kind of wasn't there mentally, maybe even physically, just wasn't ready for the Andy Ruiz Jr. fight. And look what happened. So why risk doing that again? So I believe that Anthony Joshua will wait it out. And I don't believe it will even happen on July 25th because I just think that that is too soon. I just think it's too soon. And I think that they cannot get sparring partners in. It's hardly a good idea to have people coming and going from a gym because sparring partners will be coming and going during camp for Anthony Joshua versus Kubrat Pulev. And that is not a good idea and doesn't even fit in with the government guidelines. So that is something that Anthony Joshua cannot do. So if he cannot spar, how can he have his timing and be ready for that fight with Kubrat Pulev? And the same applies for Kubrat Pulev, not just Anthony Joshua, and even Dillian Whyte, Alexander Povetkin, Derek Chisora, Alexander Usyk. How are they going to get sparring during this period? It's all right saying, we'll do it when it's over. Like say, okay, this will be over by July. If they believe that to be the period that this will all be over and that's when boxing can start again, how can they start then? Because they wouldn't have been sparring. So they can't just have a date when this virus ends to say the virus ends now, so we'll have a date just after that to fight because they wouldn't have been sparring. They wouldn't have been training properly because Anthony Joshua explained he cannot go training. He cannot go to the gym. He is grounded. He is self-isolating. So how is he going to be able to be in the best shape possible for that Kubrat Pulev fight? And again, he doesn't want to take his eye off the ball because, I mean, it's easy just to say it's Kubrat Pulev, it's a mandatory, let's go in there and do the business. We don't need to be 100%. Well, yes you do because it's a world title fight. I mean, if it was Tyson Fury, would Anthony Joshua continue to train and continue to stick with that date? No, he wouldn't. No one would. So they cannot do that. They have to postpone it if they have to. If that's what needs to happen, that's what needs to happen because I don't believe Anthony Joshua should go in there if he is not 100%. I know Kubrat Pulev won't be either, but I just don't think it's a good idea to have this fight or even consider having this fight until this is over because I don't believe that Anthony Joshua will have the right preparation in order to get ready for Kubrat Pulev because as I said, he cannot have sparring partners coming and going and people in a gym all breathing the same air, considering how fast this virus spreads. So it's just not a good idea. It's not a good idea at all at the moment. It needs to be the right time. And I believe that this fight will happen likely in late August or September. I think that is the most likely date for this fight because I just don't think that people going to a stadium, having a big stadium event, is going to be a good idea when this virus has even gone. Because I would imagine there will still be people contracting the virus at that point. It won't be a lot. I mean, it might be just one case every 5 days or even a week. But that one person doesn't know they got it and goes to that boxing event and you have a mass breakout again. So ultimately, they have to be careful about when they decide to stage this fight. And I just think that maybe even July 25th is going to be too soon. And I think that Anthony Joshua should not even try to make a date if he cannot because there is no point to it. I mean, he cannot train properly in the meantime. He doesn't have sparring partners. He can't even have his coaches there with him in close quarters to him because there are restrictions. Beyond anyone outside your household, you are not allowed to be in close contact with. 2 meters is the rule. So how can he do that? I mean, unless Rob McCracken is living with AJ, he cannot do that. So Anthony Joshua cannot train in order to get ready for Kubrat Pulev because he doesn't have any of his team. He cannot go to the gym because he has to stay at home. The guidelines are stay at home and go out only for essential travel like getting food, getting medicine, and one form of exercise per day. Those are the guidelines. So there is just no way that Anthony Joshua can get himself down to the gym and get into shape for this fight with Kubrat Pulev. So I would imagine, guys, it's not going to be June 20, and I would imagine it won't even be July 25th. I believe this fight will be likely towards the end of August, maybe even September, because it needs to be safe, and Anthony Joshua and Kubrat Pulev as well need to have a good camp. They need to be able to spar, and they need to be able to have their trainers there with them. And having that many people in one room breathing the same air while this virus is still so contagious is just not a good idea. And it's not even within the guidelines. They are not allowed to do that. So ultimately, this fight, I believe, will be pushed back because Anthony Joshua has not yet begun his training camp. And if he was even working towards that June 20 date, he would have begun his training camp by now. And he has revealed that he has not yet begun his training camp. So June 20 is absolutely off the table, I believe. July 25th is the optimistic date for this to be pushed back to, but I believe that won't even happen. I believe, as I said, it will be August or September, maybe even October, but I would be confident in saying September sort of time is when this fight will actually take place. It's not great, it's not ideal for boxing fans, but it is in the best interest of everyone involved and even us, the fans. Go into an arena where we could contract this virus, especially after it's all gone and everyone has been through so much. So ultimately, the best thing to do is wait it out, stay at home, follow the guidelines. And that even applies to Anthony Joshua, to Kubrat Pulev, to Dillian Whyte, Alexander Povetkin, Derek Chisora, Alexander Usyk, all the other boxers. That applies to them. They cannot get a proper training camp in while these restrictions are in place, and they are in place for the right reason, to save lives. So anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on this? Anthony Joshua has not yet begun his training camp for Kubrat Pulev, meaning that June 20 date is almost 100% off the table. July 25th is the optimistic date for it to be pushed back to, but maybe that is even too soon for this fight to take place. Anyway, guys, drop your thoughts in the comments below, click your thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. Thanks, guys.